Good afternoon, and welcome to this edition of the St. Mark Spark. It is Wednesday, July the 15th, and yes, surprise, it is tax day. The first time in my lifetime that tax day has not been on April the 15th, at least that I can recall. So if you're uh, waiting until the time to do your taxes, you've put them off for a bit, today is the day. So blessings on that as you work to get those done. As I looked at the lectionary for today, somehow I got onto the wrong daily scripture, but I was thinking about this and working through it before I realized. So we're going to plow ahead. And sometimes the painter Bob Ross would say, "This is a happy accident. Let's just make this into a tree." So let us hear now the word of the Lord from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 13, verses 31 through 33 and 44 through 52. Jesus put before them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed that someone took and sowed in his field. It is the smallest of all seeds, but when it has grown, it is the greatest of shrubs and becomes a tree, so that the birds of the air can come and make nests in its branches. He told them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like yeast that a woman took and mixed in with 3 measures of flour until all of it was leavened. The kingdom of heaven is like treasure hidden in a field, which someone found and hid. Then in their great joy they go and sell all that they have, and they buy the field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant in search of fine pearls. On finding one pearl of great value, they went and sold all they had and bought it. Again, Jesus says the kingdom of heaven is like a net that was thrown into the sea and caught fish of every kind. When it was full, they drew it ashore, sat down, and put the good fish in baskets, but threw out the bad ones. So it will be at the end of the age. Jesus says the angels will come out and separate evil from the righteous and throw them into the furnace of fire, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Jesus then asks his disciples, "Have you understood all of this?" And whether or not they did understand all of it, they replied to Jesus in the affirmative, saying yes. And then he says to them, "Therefore, every scribe who has been trained for the kingdom of heaven is like the master of a household who brings out of his treasure what is new and what is old." This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Now, the part of that scripture passage there that caught my attention was the very end there, where Jesus asks the disciples if they understood, and they said yes. And then he goes on to tell them an additional thing. The kingdom of heaven is like a master of a household who brings out the treasure, what is new and what is old. And it made me think of an old Girl Scout song, make new friends, but keep the old. One is silver and one is gold. And I started thinking about this passage. Then what is Jesus saying? He lays out a whole bunch of parables in this chapter about what the kingdom of heaven is going to be like. And each one of those parables can be preached on or researched and studied in its entirety all by itself. But here we get this litany of parables that tell us what the kingdom of heaven is like. And I really wonder if the disciples truly understood what Jesus was getting at. But Jesus goes on and he doesn't question them about that, but he does explain to them that the kingdom of heaven includes the new as well as the old. That I wonder if he wasn't talking about the law that the Jews followed, that just because Jesus has come and he didn't come to abolish the law, but he came to fulfill the law, if there wasn't some credence to we should, or they should, the Jewish people should still be trying to do their best to follow God's law in order to be God's people on earth, to point the way back to heaven. And so I wonder if there are some things that in this time we have learned, you and I have learned new information, new things, new ways of doing things, new ways of looking at something, new perspectives from different pews in the church per se, that don't abolish or throw out totally the information that we've gained or learned about whatever the situation is, but that those new bits of information can help inform us to a new place, can help give us a greater understanding of what the situation is in this earthly life, as well as when we look at the heavenly life, the kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. So this is just something I was thinking about today. I wanted to share it with you. And so peace be with you. God's blessings be with you. And until we see each other again, peace.